XRP is on fire right now, sitting at around $2.32. Sure, we're not quite at those huge breakout moments that really get everyone hyped, but let's be honest, it's been a nice move over the past 24 hours. And let's not forget how exciting the last week has been, not just for XRP, but for crypto in general. Bitcoin, for example, has been holding steady at around 109K, just waiting to make an even bigger move. XRP has been moving sideways lately, just waiting for altcoins to really wake up. But hey, $2.32 is a solid start for XRP. If you take a look at the activity right now, there's been a ton of XRP trading in just the past 60 seconds. It's pretty exciting to see. One of the key markets to keep an eye on is Upbit. At the moment, Upbit is leading the charge as the top market for XRP, thanks to the red hot demand in the Korean market. Believe it or not, XRP trading volume in Korea has actually overtaken Bitcoin. Here we go. So Bitcoin is sitting at $2.29 with a market value of roughly 108K. Pretty exciting, right? But let's talk about XRP because it's really been making waves lately. Looking at open interest, XRP has seen about 58 million on the spot market in just the last hour. And check this out. The heat map shows net inflows of around 46 million, meaning most of that 58 million is fresh inflows into XRP. Love to see that kind of momentum. That's definitely something important to focus on because a big chunk of that trading volume is coming from spot inflows. On top of that, it's really shaking up the market, sparking posts like this. Justin, XRP is now holding the #1 spot in South Korea with over $132,590,000 in 24-hour trading volume. Most of this is happening through Upbit. If we take a closer look, the volume is currently sitting at around 127.6 million. So not a huge difference, but it's dipped slightly. The Korean market for XRP has always been on fire. Back in December 2024, the trading numbers for the South Korean market were absolutely massive, well over $1 billion in just 24 hours. Honestly, it might have been even higher. Let's take a quick look at some of the bigger numbers here. When we look at the monthly candles, the trading volume in November hit 520 billion, and in December it was around 330 billion. Just between those 2 months, we were looking at nearly 1 trillion in XRP trading volume. That's mind-blowing when you think about it. You can really see just how red hot things were with some of those weekly candles, each representing over 90 billion in trading volume for XRP every single week. And during that time, as I mentioned, open interest in XRP was surging, especially on exchanges in South Korea, where XRP is a big deal. They were hitting multiple days with 24-hour trading volumes in the billions. It's awesome to see the South Korean market staying so active and not slowing down at all when it comes to XRP. They definitely have a good reason not to, and here's why. Today, Brad Garlinghouse is set to testify before the Senate Banking Committee. Now, let's be honest, this probably isn't the kind of event that will cause big price swings or major announcements. But the important takeaway here is that the conversation is ongoing, and that's what really matters. We're working closely with the industry to push for positive crypto legislation in the US, something that supports innovation rather than holding it back. The goal is to create an environment where crypto can thrive and expand, making it an even bigger part of the US economy. We already see how massive some of these exchanges and projects are becoming, and with pro-innovation legislation, that growth will only accelerate. Stablecoins in particular are an area to watch closely, especially with Ripple and RLUSD playing a key role in this space. Brad Garlinghouse shared that he's honored to be invited to testify before the Senate Banking Committee this Wednesday to discuss the importance of passing crypto market structure legislation. He expressed his gratitude to the leaders of the Digital Assets Subcommittee, acknowledging their dedication and ongoing support for the crypto industry over the years. Their efforts have been essential in reaching this pivotal moment. Clear and constructive crypto legislation in the US is key to unlocking a new wave of innovation and financial opportunities while ensuring consumer protection. Love to see it. It's so great to have people from the crypto space working alongside those in traditional markets. This is something I've been advocating for years, going all the way back to 2021. I've always believed the best way to create meaningful regulations for the industry is by involving experienced leaders who truly understand crypto and have been in it for the long haul. You know, Brad Garlinghouse isn't a stranger to the traditional finance world. He actually started out in TradFi. So seeing collaboration between traditional players and the blockchain/crypto space is exactly what we've been hoping for. This kind of partnership is a huge step toward creating a solid framework for crypto legislation and regulation. And honestly, that's what's going to help the whole industry thrive. Now, shifting gears a bit, let's talk about ETFs. There's been a lot of buzz about XRP ETFs lately, which could be one of the reasons we're seeing such a big inflow into XRP. Of course, the major events in the space are playing a role too, but it feels like a lot of people are starting to put serious weight behind this and speculate on what's to come. ETF approvals for altcoins are looking pretty strong, with success rates hitting around 90 to 95%. On June 20th, we got an update showing XRP approval sitting at about 95%, with big names like Grayscale, Bitwise, Canary 21 Shares, Wisdom Tree, CoinShares, and Franklin Templeton in the mix. That said, a lot of the XRP ETFs have been delayed so far, and I'm really hoping that changes soon. This month could bring some exciting updates on ETF approvals, so stay tuned. There's a lot to watch for. For now, here's a quick highlight. There are currently around 18 different ETF filings for XRP. We're all just waiting for one of them to finally break through. There's been a lot of buzz around futures ETFs lately, and XRP got one of those approved in the US, which is exciting. On top of that, we now have a spot XRP ETF trading live in Canada and Brazil. But what we're really hoping for is to see the US market grow and expand around XRP. That's why we're keeping such a close eye on all these ETF developments. The thing is, once one spot ETF gets approved in the US, it's likely the rest will follow. And there's a huge amount of money at play here. Think billions, even trillions of dollars tied up in asset management from big players. It's a big deal and definitely something worth paying attention to. Oh, and here's a major update. Negoroshi just shared some news involving the SEC. Reuters has confirmed that the SEC is working on a full framework to simplify the approval process for spot crypto ETFs. Basically, they're trying to come up with a general rule they can apply to all listings. And right now, they're fine-tuning the wording with the exchanges. You can actually see that happening here. The SEC is moving forward with creating a solid framework for how they want crypto assets to be included in investment funds. This comes as they deal with a surge in ETF applications waiting for approval. Honestly, it makes a lot of sense, especially with so many options out there. There are already around 18 ETFs tied to XRP alone. To bring everything under one clear regulatory framework would really simplify things. It would allow for quicker approvals as long as companies follow the rules, making the whole process so much smoother. When it comes to XRP, I think it's in a really unique position. Over the past 10, 12 months, XRP has been absolutely crushing it. Plus, it's tied to Ripple, a US-based company that's growing fast. Their ROUSD stablecoin is also becoming a bigger player in the US market. What's even more exciting is that Ripple has applied for a banking license and is actively working with regulators. They're making big moves and are part of key discussions like those happening with the Senate Banking Committee. It's great to see them taking significant steps forward. I really think XRP is in a unique spot right now. We're still waiting for the SEC to fully drop their appeal. But once that's out of the way, I believe things will really open up for Ripple and XRP in the market. On top of that, don't forget that NASDAQ has proposed adding XRP to its crypto index, hashtag NASDAQ crypto ETF. If the SEC gives the go-ahead by November, XRP could soon be included in the next ETF. Big Shadow 2 has been setting us up for this moment too. This is definitely one to keep an eye on. All the buzz around these ETFs is giving us key dates to watch. But honestly, I think we'll see things moving even sooner than expected. You know, I really don't think we'll have to wait until November for this. Honestly, we might not have to wait much at all for a lot of these ETF filings. We're already starting to see things move along right now. There are quite a few XRP ETF deadlines coming up in July. Take a look. There's the Rex Advisors XRP ETF due on July 25th and on July 14th. We've got the ProShares filings. These include the XRP ETF, Ultra XRP ETF, Short XRP ETF, and even the Ultra Short XRP ETF. Just a heads up, these are all futures ETFs. You know, we've got about 5 futures ETFs coming up on their deadlines between July 14th and 25th, so it's a busy time. As for spot ETFs, the big ones to watch are still in play. The Grayscale Digital Large Cap Fund GDLC hit a delay. They've paused it for now, and we're still waiting for any major updates there. For other spot ETFs like Volatility Shares and Franklin Templeton, their deadlines are around the 21st. Speaking of Franklin Templeton, their ETF also got delayed, and we haven't heard much else yet. They did take action on it back on June 17th, though. Oh, and for Tikram, good news. It's already listed, so we're all set there and Don't need to dive into that one. Lots happening in the ETF world right now. Down at the bottom there, we got a big one to talk about. Truth Social. If you've been keeping up, this is definitely something worth focusing on. Here's the scoop. Earlier today, we got an update that President Trump's Truth Social has filed for a crypto blue chip ETF. And guess what? It includes Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, and Crow. They even shared the breakdown of how it'll be allocated: about 70% Bitcoin, 15% Ethereum, 8% Solana, 5% Crow, and 2% XRP. Honestly, this is a major move and a huge vote of confidence, especially for XRP. Right now, it's just 2%, but let's be real, these are just the starting numbers. I really believe that 2% is going to grow massively, especially once we start seeing some big moves with XRP. Once that case is behind us, I think the market for XRP is going to expand in a big way. This is already a huge step forward, especially at a time when we're still waiting on all these ETFs. It's pretty exciting to see how big XRP is becoming right now. With NASDAQ showing interest and even Trump's Truth Social turning its attention to the crypto blue chip market, XRP included, it's clear that XRP is making waves. Honestly, I've said it before and I'll say it again, XRP is having an incredible run this cycle. If you look at the price action, it's actually outperforming Bitcoin so far. And let's not forget, it's even outpacing Ethereum. We've talked about this before, but it's worth repeating. When you look at old coins in the top 10 or top 20, XRP is absolutely outperforming the rest this cycle. It's no surprise that ETF players are starting to file for XRP-focused ETFs or even considering adding XRP to existing ones. It just makes sense. Now, here's where things get really interesting. July is shaping up to be one of the biggest months for crypto in the past year. I've said it before, July was going to be huge, but honestly, it's turning out to be even bigger than I expected. For starters, Brad Garlinghouse is testifying before the Senate Banking Committee today, which is a massive deal. And then there's Crypto Week happening next week, though I think that might be delayed now. There's a lot happening this month. The Fed is rolling out its ISO 2022 FedWire service on the 14th, which is a big deal. On top of that, there's been plenty of movement in crypto legislation, keeping everyone on their toes. Oh, and let's not forget about President Trump's Truth Social filing for an ETF that includes XRP. Definitely one to watch. We're also hearing tons of buzz around ETF deadlines, adding even more excitement to the mix. Honestly, it's been a wild month for crypto so far. And if you're an XRP holder right now, we're so lucky to have gotten the chance to buy XRP for under $1. It's honestly such an amazing opportunity. And if you are able to jump in with us at that price, that's awesome. Right now, I truly believe the market is gearing up for something much bigger. A major move is on the horizon. And I think a lot of people are going to be blown away by what happens with XRP this cycle. There's so much excitement building around XRP. And it's not just about ETFs. Think about it. Look at the huge progress we've just seen with the EVM sidechain. There's so much happening with the XRP ledger right now. Tons of updates and major expansions. And when you add in things like institutional adoption and the rise of tokenization, it's clear that XRP has been making serious waves over the past few months. We're not just talking ripples anymore. These are full-on waves. That's why now is such an exciting time to keep an eye on key dates and developments. Sure, delays can happen, and we don't always want to depend too much on specific timelines, but one thing to really watch for is any spot XRP ETF approvals. The moment one gets the green light, it's likely going to trigger a ripple effect, pun intended, throughout the ETF space. Once the process starts, approvals will happen super quickly from that point on, just like we saw with Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs. I really don't think this will be any different. And let's talk about XRP. It's outperforming both Bitcoin and Ethereum right now. Naturally, all these filers want to jump on board and make sure they're first in line. Nate even pointed this out, saying Grayscale must be frustrated with a stay issued on their GDLC approval order. Being first to market is a big deal, and holding up the Grayscale digital large cap ETF puts that advantage at risk. It sure does, and that's exactly why all these ETF filers are racing to get ahead. I can't help but wonder if BlackRock will eventually file for an XRP ETF. It would make a lot of sense from their perspective, but so far, we haven't heard anything official. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more free content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.